Netcare, how do you feel? Just a short while ago, the stock trading at 13 Rand. We'll get an update in just a moment in terms of where that share price closed. But as we moved towards market close, we were down 1 2/3%.
Yeah, down just a little bit on the day. I thought it was a fairly positive set of results. First of all, they did fairly well considering the strength of the Rand. The second thing is that they had a small improvement of their margins. The third thing is they're definitely benefiting from the low interest rate environment. They took on a lot of debt to pay for that General Healthcare Group acquisition a few years ago. They're still having to pay that off, and with this low interest rate environment, it means that they're saving a lot of money there. And I think there's an investment case for Netcare. It is fairly well rated by the market at the moment, but with the improvement that's taking place and the lower interest rates, I think they'll continue to grow.
And Netcare, just an update, closing at 13 Rand 13, closing in positive territory, up and just over 1/3% at 13.13 on Netcare. Coming back to Kelly, 5 Rand 15. Is this one that you look at in any detail? The jobs environment, should one stay away from this environment right now? Highly cyclical in nature. When would be the right time to pile into a stock like this?
You can see that the market, I would say, is on the sideline having a look, but not quite committed yet. It's trading on a PE of 5 or 6. The dividend yield is around 4 or 5%, which means that the market perhaps is more looking for a wait and see instead of deciding to commit themselves yet. Employment is a lag indicator within the economic recovery. What we have seen is the initial starts of the recovery taking place. I'd wonder just how strong this recovery is going to be in terms of employment generation and creation. So I'm still of the opinion that it's a wait and see.
Looking at Vodacom, the company closing at the top of the top 40 today, up 4.5% at 48 Rand. It appears that people who were sitting on the sidelines pulling into the stock in light of the results that they've put forward today. Full year headline earnings per share rising 22% for Vodacom, and big growth in their data operations. Yeah,
the data operations showed very strong growth. I thought it was quite compelling, in fact. The other thing that they did do was manage to cut costs as well, which I thought also showed that they're trying to contain their cost base. The earnings came in more or less in line with what the market was expecting. What really got the market excited was the fact that they've changed their dividend payout ratio from 40% of earnings to 60%. What that means is that in this case, the market can be expecting slightly higher dividend from them, and as a result, the stock was trading higher. I think under the circumstances, also a tough environment for them to be operating. I think a fairly good set of results.
DRC was a territory that they continue to come under pressure in. Do you think we're going to see a turnaround on DRC at some stage, or are they going to continue to push that territory until they find some resolution?
I think it's very difficult to call. In the number of the companies that we follow who operate in the DRC, it's turning out to be more of a lottery than anything else. What they need to do is just make sure that they manage what they can, and the variables within the DRC that they can't, such as changes in government legislation and a number of other variables, which will be out of their control.
Is it attractive enough? You say of the companies that you map in that territory, there are a number that are experiencing difficulties in the DRC. Is it worth it to pursue a strategy in the DRC, or do you think that people should backtrack?
I don't think they should consider disinvestment at the moment. I think they need to stay the course. And in which case they should just continue doing what they can, and as I said, try to control what they can control. There's going to be any black swan scenarios that come out from the DRC government, whether it's in terms of taxation or regulation, and in which case you'll have to digest that as it goes forward.
That whole story that telecommunications stocks in South Africa are ex-growth, how do you look at Vodacom at 58 Rand?
Interestingly, international telecommunications stocks are generally trading on a PE of 10, and most of them trading on a dividend yield of 5 or 6. I think Vodacom's announcement today puts it as well within that league. Well, it puts it within that category with them pushing up the dividend. 10 years ago, the international telcos were all trading on PEs of 30 and 35 with a huge amount of optimism regarding the growth that could take place. And so what I think we're seeing is companies perhaps moving to an X-growth scenario within various markets, and it's important that then they contain their cost base and start to act more as utilities than actual growth stocks.
MTN Group, while we're on the telecommunications debate, at 103 Rand. This continues to come down, and it's close, trading very close to that 100 Rand level, where even the value investors like yourselves potentially saying that this one is worth looking at now that it is at these low levels.
Yeah, for the last few months, the story in the market has been about resource stocks and banking stocks. The telcos have got very little attention, and I think MTN has drifted low, a little bit further below 100 Rand, and I'd be...
But only below 100 Rand. You're not starting to accumulate at 103. You don't see value?
It depends on the individual client and what their time horizon is. I think the chances of this Orascom deal going through are getting slimmer by the day. It looks like a difficult situation in Algeria. And
does that frustrate you, that there's so much corporate activity around MTN, but it always appears to be a failure to be able to close the deal?
I think it's part of the territory. In one sense, as shareholders, we want to support the management in trying to expand their markets and grow. On the other hand, we would like to see one or two deals going through. However, considering, I don't think any of them have been half-hearted attempts. I think all three of the potential deals in the last few years have actually been relevant cases. And I think as shareholders, you need to stick by management in this kind of situation.
Talking to the broader market and the noise out there, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed down 1.5% on Friday. Nobody wanted to be caught long over the weekend. Where do you think things are going to go this week?
I think we might see a little recovery rally coming up if I get out my crystal ball.
I know that you regularly bring that into studio.
I do try. What I do think is everyone has been bearish on the euro. The trade is looking rather crowded. And at the moment, I'm no currency strategist, but all the currency forecasters are coming out with new values that are just lower down the chain. So they're talking about 115, some are even talking about parity. I think actually what we've seen is the blow off now. And even if the euro does trend weaker, I don't think it's going to be as volatile as it has been over the last 3 weeks. If that's the case, with a little more stability, I think we might just see a rally in stocks.